All right, you guys. So welcome to the Pre-Vet Club February meeting of the spring semester. My name is Jessie, and we are going to be talking about mental health in the vet field today. But we're going to get to a few club things first and just general things that are going on. Okay, so those of you who have been keeping up with the club, we did do a cupcake fundraiser. The pickup date is this Saturday, the 27th from 11 to 1 for those of you who ordered or have family members that ordered or whatever. We did sell 10 boxes of the cupcakes, and so we made about $77 for our club, which is awesome. And the pickup will be at O'Neill Park, just like it was last time. And I appreciate you guys fundraising for the club, okay? Okay. Oops, this box is in my way. Okay. All right, just some general reminders. I wanted to let you guys know that we did reach out to UC Davis to see if they could come speak with all of you guys, and they responded to us in a mass email to a bunch of clubs. So they're not doing individual meetings with clubs. They're going to be doing a virtual information session on March 31st at 4:30, okay? So you guys can register there. I left that link there. Another thing, for those of you guys who are applying for vet school this round, remember the VEMCAS application is open. It is due in September, but it's good to be familiar with what you want to do, where you want to go, and start putting that together sooner rather than later. So VEMCAS is having a virtual fair as well as March 31st, same date as the UC Davis one. And they're having it from 11 to 5, and that's Eastern time. Okay, and you can register for that there. And then we also reached out to Western University to have them come talk to our club. We have not heard back from them yet, but on their website, I found where they talked about their admissions and stuff. And that link is right here, that web page where they have that. It was like June 2020 is when they put that on there. So it has, I'm assuming, all the information that they would talk about to us. I did watch like half of it. So yeah, okay. And just a reminder, we're not going to be having like our annual vaccine and microchip clinic. First of all, I don't think the school would allow us to. Also, I don't feel comfortable having a bunch of us get together to vaccinate animals, even if we can like have the animal restrained by one person and just one person giving the vaccine. I don't know. I don't trust it. And I don't feel comfortable doing that and possibly exposing all of our members to COVID, possibly. We don't know where these other people who are going to vaccinate their dogs, we don't know where they've been. So I just think it's the safest option to not do that this year, unfortunately. And I do apologize for that, guys, but I think it is for the best. We do have some tentative dates for our next meetings. These are subject to change. We did pick these out, but they might change just a little. I just want to give you guys an idea. We decided if you guys want to run for an officer position, we're going to do speeches at the April meeting, and we'll have a forum for you guys to submit those to if you want to type them up, like a short or introductory paragraph like we did last year for those of you who were a part of that. And then on May, we'll announce and introduce the officers. So we basically have just one more club meeting and then like officer sort of meetings. All right. Does anybody have any questions about kind of what we're doing the rest of the semester? No, you guys can always put it in the chat and I'll get to it at the end. Okay. All right, so today, like I said, we're going to be talking about mental health in the veterinary field. At the end, I would like to have this video playing for you guys, but I'll play it at the end in case you guys want to just watch it on your own time. I'm not going to play this second one here. That was a little more sad. And the first one is the first video I saw that kind of got me thinking like, oh, I didn't know that about the vet field. So we will watch that one at the end and I'll go through what that's more about when we watch it. Okay. I did want to preface this meeting by saying we are going to talk about things like suicide today. So if you do not wish to hear about that or you don't want to even think about it, it's fine. You guys don't have to be here. We are recording this meeting, so you guys can watch it at a later date if you want. You don't have to watch it. This meeting is to inform, not to discourage people. I just think it's very important to talk about and not something everybody knows about. That the vet field can get a little heavy. So if you guys don't wish to be here, I'll give you guys a second if you want to leave the meeting. That is fine. Okay. Okay. All right. So I do want to first talk about statistics. So veterinarian is one of the top 10 professions with the highest suicide rates. In the years 1975 to 2015, there have been 398 suicides reported, and 75% of those suicides have been small animal veterinarians. And female vets are 3.5 times more likely to commit suicide than the general population, and male vets are 2.1 times more likely. And nearly 1 in every 10 vets might be suffering from psychological distress, but only half of them are seeking help. Overall, vets are at a higher risk for suicide than the general population. Okay, some reasons for these statistics are anxiety, depression, and compassion fatigue, which are all caused by the obvious euthanasias. Also, clients constantly wanting free treatment and medications. There's also a lot of verbal harassment and threats from clients. Also, there's horrible online reviews for not doing free treatment or other things like that. And another thing is debt from vet school. And the average student graduates with about $150,000 in debt, and that's just average. I found this quote down here interesting. I will have a lot of quotes on these slides just because I'm taking information directly from articles. So experts suggest that animal welfare agents carry an even heavier burden than those in other helping professions who are susceptible to compassion fatigue because of the unique issues with working with animals, such as the euthanasia, caring for living beings who have experienced pain and suffering but are unable to articulate their needs and experiences. Just kind of hard to watch. Okay, I did want to talk about euthanasias and just patients in general. I found this statistic interesting. There are 2.4 million healthy cats and dogs that are euthanized every year just in the United States. And most of those are homeless animal shelters. And I got that from the Humane Society's website. Another thing that's difficult is vets are constantly seeing sick, injured animals and often seeing firsthand animal cruelty cases. And another thing is they aren't able to treat a lot of the time due to financial constraints from the owner. Imagine the psychological impact of constant demands to kill healthy animals for appalling reasons. The dog is too old to run with me anymore. We have redecorated and the dog no longer matches the color scheme. It is cheaper to get another dog when I return from vacation than to pay fees at a boarding kennel. And I do not wish to spend the money on a procedure you recommended to treat the animal, or it's cheaper to get another dog. I underlined this one here because that's one that I personally see a lot. I did list some down here that I have heard and hear a lot. I work, for those of you who don't know, I work at a small exotic animal hospital in Fresno, and I work as kind of a veterinary assistant technician, sort of. And so I do handle exotics, and mainly I hear the money thing from exotic owners. That's just in my personal experience. I hear a lot, but it's just a guinea pig, you know, oh my gosh, $300 for a turtle? Is all of that treatment really necessary? Why would I spend that much on a $2 rat? This last one here was just blowing my mind. This guy was bringing him his rabbit that we rushed him in to bring, and his rabbit was attacked by a dog like 30 minutes prior, like shaken in his jaws or whatever. And the guy says, I don't mean to be cruel, but I can't spend a lot today. That one just, I don't know, that one blew me away. Like, that's what he's worried about, not saving his rabbit. I don't know. However, hearing these all the time makes it rewarding when clients actually want to do everything they can for their animal. It makes us just feel so happy for that animal. Okay, I did want to talk a little bit about my personal experiences. I have been in the vet field for working in a hospital for about 9 months now. So I don't have a ton of experience, but I've seen quite a bit of things so far. I did want to talk about specific cases, and I have my notes here just to keep me on track. Okay, I'll talk about Penny first. Penny was this little 1-year-old Yorkie sort of thing. She was really tiny. And she came in for vomiting, and she was lethargic, and she hasn't been eating for like a week. And it's possible that she ate like palm tree seeds, and her owner said that she eats stuff all the time. So we did the full workup. We did blood work, we did x-rays, we did a fecal sample, we tested the urine, we tested for parvo because she was 1, we didn't have a vaccine history. Another thing I kind of want to mention, just to help me talk about this, is that how it works at my job is we're all curbside, so there aren't any clients inside. When we bring an animal in, doctor will look at it, the doctor will call the owner, talk about the exam, what she wants to do, why she wants to do it, and then it's our job as the technicians to go over an estimate and see if they want to do all the treatment or the diagnostics or whatever. Okay, so that's kind of how it works. We go over the money side while doctor goes over all the medical stuff. And so I went over the estimate with those owners. It was a husband and a wife I was talking to at the same time, and they just kept asking me like, okay, will this test find out what's happening? Okay, will this test find out what's happening? Okay, will this medication save her? Will this save her? And we can't ever guarantee anything. I'm sure those of you who work in the field understand that. We can't ever say, yes, this will fix your animal. People will get you for that. So I had to phrase it such as, doctor is hoping that this will give us an answer, but I can't guarantee anything. We're hoping this medication will help her, that kind of thing. Anyways, they finally decided to just go ahead and do everything that doctor thought was necessary. And it was quite a hefty bill. I mean, their dog was very sick. We didn't think she was going to do well. And we got her on fluids right away with some medications in it and everything. And then this was a Friday, so we referred her to the ER for the weekend. We left the catheter in and everything. And they went to the ER over the weekend, hopefully. We told them to, and we told them they have to because they have a catheter in. Anyways, that whole weekend was just difficult for me because Penny was my case. I was worried about that little dog all weekend. I had no idea if the owners were going to actually take her to the ER, or if they did, or if the ER was even able to do much more. And I lost sleep over that case. Like, I was worried. And then Monday she came in for a recheck, and the owners brought her in, and doctor took another look at her, and she was feeling her abdomen, and she could feel like this large, hard object in the little dog. And she wanted to do repeat x-rays. And the owners just declined that and decided to euthanize their dog because it cost them too much money, and it was a dog that they didn't want anymore. That one was really hard for me because we worked really hard on Penny, and we tried to save her. We don't typically do emergencies, so that one was kind of an emergency. So that one kind of sucked. Sorry, I'm talking a lot about these, you guys. I have 2 more. I just think it's important to hear about real world experiences. I'm going to talk about Jimmy next. Jimmy was a cat that I think it was liver failure that he was going through by the time that I saw him when I started. He came in twice a week to get sub-Q fluids. And eventually Jimmy started to not do so well. And his owner was what really made this case memorable for me. She's an older lady who was very sweet. She was always asking about me and, oh, how is your boyfriend? How is school? Oh my gosh, I saw you on the news with your club and doing the Creek Fire donations. She was just a very sweet lady who cared so much about her cat that she did everything for him. And then I get a call one day, like 7:30 in the morning, right when we open up, and it's that lady, and she's sobbing, and she told me that they had to have Jimmy euthanized at the ER over the weekend, and she's just crying, and she's thanking us for all the stuff that we did for Jimmy and helping him, and we were so good to him. And at the same time, other lines are ringing. I'm the only one there. I have to very nicely cut her off and just answer the other lines and put them on hold for a minute. But Jimmy was a hard one because of the owner. She was just so caring about him, and it's, you get attached to owners too. Okay. I won't talk about Chloe. I think you guys have heard enough from me for now. Did any of the other officers want to talk about their personal experiences?
I think I have a couple. As I was listening to you, Jesse, one popped into my head. It wasn't even from the place we're at right now. If you guys don't know, me and Jesse work together. This was back in high school when I was kind of like interning at this one place. Somebody brought in their dog that had been in labor. This has been quite a few years now, so it's kind of hard for me to remember, but I want to say the dog was in labor for maybe a couple days, and no puppies were coming out. And then the owner finally brings it into the vet, and of course, like, pretty much all of them didn't make it. I think maybe only a couple puppies did, but back in high school, that was my first time getting like any type of hands-on experience with anything like this. So it was kind of like eye-opening to me, like how things actually worked behind the scenes. And I remember having to go in and grab a puppy that they just got out of the dog, and we were trying to like wake it up and everything, and it just wasn't happening. So yeah, like I think out of maybe 8 puppies, only 2 of them made it. So at least, I mean, there were 2. It's a good thing about it, but it just, I don't know, just kind of like seeing dead newborn puppies wasn't fun. One other one is kind of like Jesse had with Jimmy. We had William come in a lot for sub-Q fluids as well. And just recently he had to be, or Jesse, did they say that he died at home, or did they have to euthanize him?
I think they euthanized him at the ER.
Yeah. And I did kind of get attached to William, and his owners are really nice as well. William was so sweet, and yeah, he was coming in almost every day, so I definitely got to see him all the time and got attached, and yeah, that was kind of sad to hear too. So those were my few experiences.
Oh, you just reminded me of William.
I know, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah, William was hard. His
Yeah.
owners were great, and he was an interesting dog because he would try to bite us with the owner, but then when we would take him in, he'd be fine. He was fine with
Yeah.
he was,
Like right when you'd go like hand him back to their owner, like he just whip around and start like barking at you like he was gonna like he was gonna do something, but right when you bring him inside, he's perfectly fine. He's a little angel.
he's so fake. He
He is.
He's a good dog. All right. Did any other officer have anything else they wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I'll tell my euthanasia story, I guess. I'll talk about 2. I'll talk about my first experience with it and my more recent experiences. So most of my experience comes from more of the large animal, food animal side of things. I grew up on farms for most of my youth, and that's what I'm currently doing right now is I'm working with a couple large animal veterinarians who mainly work on dairy cattle, but they also, pretty much work on anything if they get a call for it. So my first exposure to euthanizing animals for medical reasons when I was 12 years old. So when I was 10, I started working on my parents' farm raising calves. So I was pretty much in charge of feeding them every day, keeping an eye on them, basically raising them for the first month of their life. And I know 12 sounds pretty early, but I had had a lot of animal experience at that point, and I was pretty good at it. So we started having calves die on us from a respiratory infection. So that, and I had had calves died on me before, but this was an unusual case because, you know, it was more than one at a time. So we had some veterinarians come out. It was, you know, they diagnosed it as a respiratory infection. So we sort of overhauled our sanitization, really cleaned everything a lot better. You know, we were really working with the vets to try to eliminate it. But none of the treatments were working. We found out later on that I forget what strain it was, but it was antibiotic resistant. And we ended up having to euthanize a lot of the calves because they just got to the point where they weren't recovering and there was no treatment options really available. And that had a pretty big impact on me at the time when it happened, because I really felt responsible for it as, you know, one of the primary caregiver for those animals. So it made me think about euthanasia quite a bit from an early age. And then more recently, you know, also working with food animals again, and with these veterinarians in their private practice, you see a lot of euthanasia. You know, there a lot of the bigger farm operations are ran as a business. So like Jessica was saying, you know, a lot of times owners, it really just comes down to money, whether they can afford it. And a lot of the times with, you know, large populations of animals, you know, you're not seeing that animal like consistently on a daily basis. So there are a lot of times where, you know, if you have an animal that's out grazing in a field, you know, someone might not see it, you know, for a few days if it has a medical emergency. And a lot of times by the time the veterinarians, you know, get to it, it's pretty much terminal at that point. So we deal with it in a high volume, but a lot of the times you know, you don't have as much emotional investment into treating that animal. When we do have those animals that, you know, we have spent a lot of time and care and, you know, trying to get them better, we do have to euthanize. It does take more of a toll on you. You know, everybody seems to try to have a neutral approach to it, you know, because if you do let it get to you and you're dealing with it on a regular basis, you do get passion fatigue. You know, you do kind of burn yourself out on it. So for me, it's just something I try to think about often, just to stay mentally, you know, prepare for it before you have to do it, rather than dealing with it after it happens. So that's just kind of my 2 cents on it.
I think that's some good advice. Yeah, euthanasia is, I don't know, to me, I just have to detach from the situation as much as possible, like mentally. Like I had just, I don't know, for me, I have to think, okay, this animal is no longer going to be suffering. This animal is going to go to a better place. It's, it will be okay. You know,
Yeah.
it's really hard when the owners are present. That's,
Yeah.
that's the worst.
It's for like with cows, you know, a lot of the times if you have to euthanize a cow, time you can you know, you can eat that animal. You know, you can at least, you know, turn it into food. So when you have a good reason like that, it's, you don't feel as bad. It's a little bit easier to deal with it. Something I haven't really had to deal with is euthanizing, you know, healthy animals. That's something I've never really been exposed to. So that one I imagine would be pretty rough if, you know, I imagine working at a shelter or something and getting animals that you have to put down for no other reason than they don't have a home or someone to take care of would be a pretty tough situation.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. All right. I think we're gonna move on to the next slide here. If you guys want to hear anything else from any of us, I know at least you could reach out to me if you wanted to just talk about anything. That's perfectly okay with me. I can send my contact information in the chat later if you guys want me to.
Same here. I'm open to any conversation anybody would like to have.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so I did want to go over a little bit of how to deal with stress in general, and then I'll focus on the vet side of it in the next slide. Okay, so 4 strategies for coping with stress is to avoid it altogether. You can alter the way you think about it, you can accept it and adapt to the situation. And then there's this list of 10 things you can do each day to just take care of yourself. I know I don't get enough sleep, so get enough sleep, enough to eat, exercise. You need to keep some variety in the work that you do, and you need to make sure you're doing something pleasurable every day. Another thing is to focus on what you did well. I know, at least for me, I struggle with that, and I sometimes focus on the negative side, like, oh, I didn't do well on that test, so that was a really difficult case today. And you just have to know that you're going to learn from your mistakes and just try to focus on the positive. You want to share a joke, and you can pray, meditate, relax, do whatever works for you. And also support a colleague is something that you should do each day if you work, of course. One thing that helps me, at least, with class and workload stress, if you're just thinking like, oh my gosh, I just have so much work to do, I have so many classes, like, how am I going to get through it? You just got to take it day by day. Remember that it's not permanent, and your classes will end, and you will have a new schedule in months or weeks, depending on where you're at in the semester year. A couple ways you can kind of deal with financial stress is completing the FAFSA. You can also create a budget to stick to. You can work, as well as you can reduce how many classes you're taking and do part-time in order to work more as well. For grade and exam stress, I know there is tutoring available. There's friends you can talk to, advisors. There's also that SI, the supplemental instruction. One thing that at least helps me is to break larger assignments into smaller parts and just start it further in advance. You got to change your mindset from achieving a certain grade on like an exam or an assignment to, okay, I want to learn as much as possible, or I want to do the best I can. And another thing is, don't procrastinate. I know we're all guilty of that. Okay, now as far as the veterinary field is concerned, well, I know we're not vets yet, but I did want to talk about this. You want to practice restorative self-care. So I found this quote. All of these are quotes direct from an article, which I have linked later. You cannot practice long-term animal care without taking the time to take care of yourself. This means focusing on nutrition, exercising regularly, and speaking to a professional to help lessen any emotional burden. It's also ensuring that you need to find what fulfills you emotionally outside of work. And it had this quote in there: scrolling through your phone or watching TV are often distractions of self-care. So try a different hobby. Like, I guess, reading, or you can take dance classes or whatever you're passionate about outside of animal care. That's something that you need to establish when you guys start practicing. Another thing is to set boundaries. It is not your personal responsibility to save the entire world. You can only do the best that you can, and this means developing the strength to say no. This means that when you're faced with an angry or unreasonable client, you can hear them out, but you are not under any obligation to withstand verbal abuse or emotional manipulation from a client. You are also within your right to set boundaries and disengage from the conversation if it takes an ugly turn. Clients do get upset. A lot of it is about money or having to wait long periods of time. You just have to say that I understand, I apologize, we're doing the best we can. Here's where we're going to go from here. I don't know. Most people are understanding, but not everyone. So it's something you're just going to have to be prepared for in the field, is unhappy people. Those of you who have worked in customer service probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Another thing, that when you're practicing medicine at some point, you need to focus on the good cases. And this is kind of what Xander was talking about earlier. You can validate your grief. So you don't have to just pack it in, hold it in, and just let it build up. When something tragic occurs at the job, you don't have to bury it and pretend that it's normal. It can be helpful to talk to coworkers who have experienced similar tough cases, especially those involving abuse or neglect. Make sure you have someone you can trust, who can sympathize and allow you to blow off steam with, so you can move forward with that grief, okay? All right, here are some links to kind of resources you guys can go to if you want to learn more about self-care or mental health in the veterinary field. The AVMA website provides an entire list of available resources and additional tools to help you take better care of your emotional and mental health. I did want to play a Kahoot. Maybe we'll come back to that. I have it ready. Okay. I don't know if you guys know about this, but there's this website and network called Not One More Vet. Online network of over 20,000 vets. And it says on their website, this is straight off their website, they come together to share stories, to cry, to celebrate, to mourn. And when you guys are practicing someday and you just feel worn out, a lot of people share on this website. I know the doctor I work for is part of this network. I've heard about it multiple times, and you guys should just check out their website. And also, this is the AVMA website about well-being and getting help if you need help. Okay, this is just kind of resources where I got all the information from today. Okay, even though we did talk about some sucky things today and kind of sad things, I know that I wouldn't have any other job in the world. I hate sitting here in the mornings at school thinking, I just want to go to work. Man, I just want to work. I get to see a variety of patients. I absolutely love my job. It makes me so happy to be there. I love helping animals. It's so rewarding to see animals feel better. It's just a good feeling. And if you guys don't have a job as like even in a hospital or even just in a shelter or anything, I highly recommend maybe volunteering if you guys want to start there. I highly recommend getting in very soon. Well, it depends on where you guys are at in your years, but you guys want to get experience early because then you can decide if this is something you guys are going to be able to do or not. Because this is a very mentally and physically challenging career. And so you guys just want to make sure if you're on the edge about it, maybe try to get into a hospital or intern possibly just to check it out and see if you want to do it or not. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you guys know if anyone's hiring like animal related? I've been looking around, but no one's really taking anyone right now. Do you guys know anybody who's hiring?
I looked on LinkedIn. I had to make a LinkedIn account for some assignment, and I believe it said Banfield was hiring on LinkedIn for a couple of different positions. I could be wrong, but definitely try LinkedIn or I think that's the one I saw it on. I think Banfield. You guys can also go into places. When I was looking for jobs, I literally just started calling hospitals. Hey, are you hiring? Are you hiring? And a couple of them said, yeah, you can bring in resumes. You can bring in a resume. So you can always just go in or call places and be like, hey, are you hiring? This is who I am. This is kind of my experience. Like, can you put me in anywhere? Some hospitals will work with you. I think Family Pet Hospital in Clovis was going to let me bring in a resume, as well as Animal Hospital and Dental Clinic was going to let me bring in a resume. I know they were hiring recently. I don't know if they still are, but definitely check those places out. You can always give them a call.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Does anybody else have any other questions or anything? I did have a Kahoot I wanted to play. It's just 8 questions, just a short little thing.
There's one more slide, Jesse.
Huh?
So there's one more slide.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Oh, you're right. Okay, wait. Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay, let me see if I can get this to play. Wait. Let me get the sound. Hold on. Share sound. Okay.
There she goes. Come on, Paris.
Paris, it's okay, honey. Oh my gosh.
So that is my coworker's dog who can't walk. She can walk straight through hallways, but she has to come back backwards. I thought you guys would find that funny. I love her. I love Paris. Anyways, hold on. Let me get the Kahoot up. Okay. Hold on. Share screen. Okay. Can you guys see the Kahoot?
Yeah.
On the Halloween sound still. Hold on. All right, this Kahoot's just going to be kind of about self-help and stuff. Just a few questions. Try to lighten the mood a little bit. And then I will play that video at the end, you guys. You guys don't have to stick around if you don't want to. It's just, I highly recommend it, watching it on your own if you guys aren't going to stay to watch it, but you're welcome to watch it with us if you want. All right, does anybody else need to join in? Nope. Okay, I'm gonna start it. All right, which of these is not a self-care tip? Ooh. All right, next. Oh. All right. 4 strategies for coping with stress are to avoid, alter, accept, and adapt. All right, I did list those in the slides, and that is true. Those are the 4 strategies that I listed. Oh, we got a switch in the leaderboard. All right, next question. What is the exhaustion burnout feel after repeated unfortunate situations which All right, that is compassion fatigue. I know I didn't give a definition, but yeah. Oh, we got a streak going. Which of these is not 9 dimensions of well-being? We'll hint in the picture. Right, yeah, the future is not one of them. Ooh, we still got that streak going. All right, what is the average amount of debt students face after graduating vet school? We did talk about this. Yep, 150,000. That's just average. Which is a strategy to improve your work-life balance? All right, there were 3 correct answers on here. All of these are 1. Yeah, learn to say no is a good one. Oh. All right, got 2 more. One of the best way to counteract things is by one of the best ways. All right, expressing gratitude was one of the top ways to counteract negative feelings. Oh, now Nikki has the streak. All right, last question. What are some of the ways to deal with All right. Yep, all 3 of these were right answers. All right, you guys, let's look at the leaderboard. And there is no prize for today. This one's just for fun. All right. We got Nikki in second. Yeah. Good job, guys. Okay. Hold on, my sound's still going. All right. Good job, you guys. I do want to play that video. Is there anybody who wanted to ask any questions or anything if you guys aren't going to stick around? Let me put my contact information in here. I am going to put my phone number. If you guys do want to reach out to me, please text. Don't call. And my email, okay? All right, you guys are free to leave if you want to. If you guys want to watch that video, it's like a TED Talk about mental health in the vet field and kind of the statistics I talked to about, but from a veterinarian. And it's a really good, it is kind of a longer video. If you guys don't want to watch it, that's okay. I'm going to start playing it in a few minutes if nobody has any questions. I hope you guys enjoyed this meeting, those of you who are leaving. Hope it was informational and not too upsetting.